Well, Josh, well done. Career best 6 goals. That must have felt pretty satisfying, the way you played, personally and from a team perspective.
Oh, absolutely. Both aspects of the game was really good. Sometimes being a tall forward, the ball can bounce your way, and sometimes it can't. So that was pleasing to get on the end of some goals. But I mean, the way we played, I think the first quarter was exhilarating. Even to be out there, it was just awesome to be a part of. And the atmosphere of the day, was a beautiful day, and the crowd really came along. A sensational day.
Mate, you've now kicked 40 goals 2 years in a row. How satisfying is that?
Yeah, it's great. It's I guess if you look at it individually, it's only 2 goals a game, so that's not such a great deal. But it's good just to be out there. It means you're out there most weeks, and I've been able to play most of the year, so it's been really good. But I think we've had Tex and Eddie have both kicked over 50. Lynch is leading the team in goals, leading the league in goal assists. So there's been a fair spread, and it's not that hard to get on the end of a few.
Do you feel like you're progressing well though? Like you've still got a decent upside, obviously coming from the basketball background and being a slow starter with your footy?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to think so. I think the day you think you can, you've got no improvement left, is probably the day you need to give up. So I'll continue to work hard. I think some of my contested marking, things like that, have improved this year. So James Pozziadeli's been a great help in the latter part of the year working on those aspects, and hopefully he hangs around, we're able to continue that.
What sort of, in terms of J-Pod's help with your marking or whatever, what sort of finer points has he been trying to run through?
It's more about just change of mindset. I've said yesterday that often throughout the season you can just look to get to the next game and just try and recover and put yourself in cotton wool, but we've really challenged each other to do extra marking, and that's not just myself and him. That's Tex has been involved in that, Lynchy and the defenders get involved as well. So we've just challenged each other to train a little bit harder and do a little bit more work, and the results show.
So how high is your ceiling? How much can you improve on that?
I'm not sure. It's obviously hard to put a figure on, but I guess the desire is there, and the aim is just to continually improve. So as long as I can just continually go on an upwards trend, I'll be happy.
Josh, how was that? Oh, sorry.
So if J-Pod retires, as we all think about the end of the season, he'll stay involved with the club, do you think, in some capacity? How important was that for the fellow players?
I mean, I'm not privy to those discussions and what that plan looks like, but you'd like to think so. I think he's made it open that he's keen to hang around in football anyway, in some sense, and he's got the fitness background, and he obviously has he's got a great football experience and journey. So it'd be great to have him around, and we'll be fortunate if he chooses to stay with us.
Josh, how good was that first quarter? Where does it rate in terms of quarters you've been involved with?
Yeah, it was really good. I think we knew how good a side West Coast are, and we had to bring our very best to at least match them, and obviously we were able to do more than that. But that just shows us as a group what we're capable of when we put our minds to it. And it was a really good 30 minutes of footy, and obviously set up the match for us.
Do you feel like you can do some? You're obviously locked away now for finals. Do you feel like you can beat anyone in the top 8 the way you were playing?
I mean, you'll go into any game on a weekend and against any opponent at any venue, and with the belief that you can beat them. That's why we're in the game. So we're really excited at the fact that we're going to participate in finals. But having said that, we've got a pretty difficult task to head down to Geelong, where we haven't won very often in the last few years, and try and beat those guys first.
Did we talk about the blueprint of how you're wanting to play in recent weeks? Was that the blueprint of the perfect forward line setup? It seemed like you had so much space.
Oh, I guess so, but that's probably a byproduct of what happens up the field. We were able to win the clearances in the first quarter, or the start of the first quarter. We dominated the ball, and any time that West Coast went forward, our backs were helping each other and getting the ball out of there. So it's easy for us to, when we're streaming back to goal, and guys like Brody Smith and Scott Thompson, those guys, dangerous, streaming through the middle of the ground. It makes our job pretty easy.
How tough will this week be? Obviously Geelong can't make it, but they'll farewell some greats, no doubt. You'd think some announcements during the week. And there's also talk of this, cheer danger campaign that the crowd may sort of get behind him as well. What's the mindset of your group going to this game?
Oh, we've got a simple focus, and that's just to win the game. And we've put forth probably 4, 5, 6 good games of footy now. For the most part, you're not going to dominate every moment of every game, but for the most part, we've played pretty good football, and that'll be our aim again this week. I mean, if you look past that, or you look at the external things, and you lose focus of what you need to achieve, and the results won't fall your way. So as a group, that'll be our mindset. Quick turnaround. We'll be down there Friday night, so looking forward to getting down there, and as I said, getting a win at a venue that's tough to get a win.
So you've got to be a fair bit of atmosphere associated with the game though from the Cats fan, given what may unfold for them.
Could be. I mean, I know you hear the ex-Geelong players always talk about they make a big factor, and they really want to win games when they have milestones and guys retiring. So we'll know that they're going to bring their best this week.
Josh, what are you expecting at Geelong in terms of Paddy? I know the Geelong advertised today. There's a photo of Paddy and the Cats Guernsey and signed petitions and all these things. Are you expecting a bit of a surge?
Potentially, but that's couldn't be further from my mind and the team's mind. I know we've dealt with it all year, and that's just the circumstance of football these days. And those guys will do what they're going to do, and we'll go down there and try to get the 4 points. I mean, Pat's performances for us, we couldn't ask for any more from him, and we'll let those people do that sort of stuff and won't worry about it.
Well, he just shrugged it off himself.
I think he has all year. I mean, no one could just sit there with a straight face and say he hasn't performed to the best of his ability this year. We'll ask him to perform his role again, and I've got no doubts that he will do so.
The health of the list and the depth at the moment, we mentioned Jacob before, but there's plenty of guys in good form. Is that actually on your mind as a senior list?
A little bit. You know that 2 or 3 poor showings, or maybe one showing, can have you out of the door, and that's a good thing about a good footy club is a group of 40 guys that are playing good football, and it's unfortunate that the SANFL season has to wrap up for our guys, because those guys are really playing good footy, and obviously they'll have to work hard now on the training track to keep their fitness up. But we've got probably 8 to 10, 12 guys that can step in now and play a role for someone who gets injured or is not performing to the level, and that's pleasing. That's what good football clubs are about.
Last couple of nights. I think he played his 200th this week. How have you seen him this year coming back from that horrible injury?
I could only imagine how difficult it must be to come back from an Achilles. You see it, in all sports. It's such a debilitating injury, and he's such a professional that he's had his challenges coming back, and he went back to the SANFL, and it probably was a good thing for him to go back and get some confidence in both his body and his game, and he's come back and played some different roles. I thought yesterday he looked really good across half-back, some intercept marks and things like that, and we're a better side when he's playing football, good football in our side.
Is he remain a leader?
What's that?
Has he remained a leader?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the one constant. And I mean, that would have been difficult for him to, and when he wasn't playing his best footy, to speak up and be a leader. But that's been the one thing he hasn't changed and hasn't altered at all. His leadership's exceptional. He's just a really good person to have in the football club.